Hello, a very good morning to everybody. I hope you're doing well. Get my chat up and let me see who's joining us today. So welcome, this is Totally Beads, and today we're going to be making some lovely little necklaces, just using some links, some gorgeous daisy flower connecting spaces, some lovely round glass pearls, and some flat hematite tiles as well. They're really lovely. Comes in 3 different colours. I've got a gorgeous chain as well that I'm using today. So I'm going to be using all rhodium findings, and we're just going to be turning some pins. So in terms of your tools, you're going to need some cutters, some chain nose, some round nose or bail step plier. I think that's about it. So I hope you're doing well. Good morning to Sally. She says, good morning everyone, hope you're all well. We're not really. Sickness as well and truly hit our household. So little one got picked up, not so little one, got picked up from school early last week, and he's got a horrible virus which everybody in the class seems to have picked up. And yeah, I'm doing my best. I haven't got time for sickness. I said, good morning, Sally. I'm okay. I hope you're well too. Good morning to Sheila. How are you doing? Good morning to Rachel. She's in. Oh, my voice is muffly. Is it the sound or is it just my actual voice? Let me see.
Does this sound any better? It's not a good start, is it? Can you let me know if this sound is okay? It could have been the volume, it could have been my settings, it could be me. As I say, I am feeling muffly. If muffly was a feeling, then now, does that sound any better? Good morning to Camille. She says it's drizzly here. Thank you, Carol. Good morning to Karen. Good morning to Yolanda. Hello to Heather, Tina, Kim. And I hope everybody, I haven't missed anyone who's in the chat anyway. So thankfully, yeah, all is good. So today I'm going to be making Melicia necklaces, Melicia. Melicia. I'm using gorgeous hematite daisy spaces. We're just going to be making some links today. So I'm going to take you over to the website now and you can have a look. I should have prepped and made some up in advance really, but it doesn't really take very long. So I'm going to head over to the website now and I'm going to show you what we've got to work with today. So over we go to totallybeads.co.uk and you can head straight into the video tutorial categories, which are on the main page. So it will look like this. I've just come into it already, but if you want to go back one, you'll see we have different ways to get in. So click on one that says video tutorials and it'll take you into all the beautiful creations from Totally Beads over the last 5 years. Today is the Melicia necklace, so it's this one here. It's really, really pretty. I've chosen 3 colours. I just thought it looked lovely with the hematite. So we've got a blue, a hematite coloured one, which means it's not been coloured, it's just as is. And then we've got a purple one as well. Really, really pretty, using these little spaces to make a lovely necklace. You can change the size up to these really easily. You can either add more links in, or you can add more chain in, and there's lots you can do with this design. You're going to have enough to make 4 necklaces. So of course, if you want to make a bracelet and earrings, or like a really long line necklace, you can absolutely do this. You could do some layering with it, you could do whatever you wanted. So they should be £14.99 and they've been reduced to amazing £12.50. So I'll show you what you get in each of your kits. You're going to get enough materials to make 4 necklaces in this particular design. You've got the Hematite flat square beads, which are beautiful, and that's what inspired me to make this make today. You've got some glass pearl rounds, which are in complementary colours to those hematite flat squares, your daisy spaces, your eye pins, your gorgeous chain, your lobster clasp, and your jump ring. So all your findings are going to be in a kind of rhodium plated finish. Your eye pins are going to be 30mm in size. If you do want to make any extra bits, because you've got loads in your kits and you've got 50mm eye pins, that's absolutely fine. You can use them as well. The chain I'm using is an oval twist, so you can see it's got lovely long links and then 3 smaller links inside. I'm going to be using glass pearls in 8mm. These are teal in colour, and I'm using the green plated hematite flat squares here, which are also 8mm in size. I'll show you the finish on them down on the mat. They're really beautiful. We're going to be using 2 sizes of jump ring today. I've got my trusty 6x1 outer diameter, and I've also got these 4x7s as well. They're just smaller, and I think they just look more in keeping, I suppose. I'm only using those when I'm attaching onto these gorgeous daisy kind of looking antique silver metal connectors. You've got 6 petals on those flowers. They're 11mm in size, and I just think they look really, really lovely all together. So this one here is how the finished piece looks. This is your blue Melicia necklace, and in each of your kits you're getting all the same things. The only thing that's going to change is the colour of those hematite little flat square beads and the lovely glass pearl rounds. They're still the same size. So if you have a little look at this one, I'm using the hematite flat square, which hasn't been treated with a colour, so it's got that lovely kind of silver grey kind of colour to it, and I'm using the hematite beads to match them as well, but everything else stays the same in your kit. And this is how this one looks. Frosty, a little bit gothic as well, really, even though I'm using those flowers. It's amazing how if I was to use really bright coloured beads or pastel beads and change those hematite, you'd get something I think that look quite summery and spring-like. But the colours that I'm using here, I think, just draw in a little bit to the kind of autumn and winter months that we've got coming up. So again, you're going to make 4 necklaces out of this kit. This one is your gorgeous purples. So I'm using purple plated hematite, which has got gorgeous colours. You kind of get like reds and vivid purple and kind of a mix of maybe like a little tinge of blue on that as well. And then I'm using the royal purple 8mm glass beads. So they're your colourways for you to choose from today. All of your kits are just £12.50. They've already been discounted for you, and you've got enough to make up 4 necklaces in those kits. So head over to totalybeads.co.uk if you want to get your hands on these and you want to make along with me. Good morning to Lisa, good morning to Kath, good morning to Heather, who says she's loving the teal. Well, that's good, because that's what I'm going to demo with for you today. I could do a mix, I suppose. It really doesn't matter. Here they are on the mat. So hematite, a really gorgeous gemstone. It's got a very kind of weighty feel to it, to be honest. This isn't too weighty to be worn as jewellery, of course, but it does, some people do attribute it to kind of a grounding effect. Apparently it was worn by soldiers and warriors going into battle, and they used to grind it up and put it on their face and things like that. So lots of kind of love and legend attributed to this stone. They're all hematite, but this is kind of its true form colour, really. I think when you ground it up and mix it up, it's more in pigmentation form, it's more of a brown, but you can see here it's got that lovely kind of steely colour to it. These are our beautiful little daisy kind of 6 petal flower spacers, and I'm using them as a connector. And then I've got those lovely hematite pearls, which I think, as you can see, just look like the perfect match for these. I'm bringing this necklace down into a lovely little drop. So I have this flower as a pendant and this as a tassel hanging off. But you can arrange these in any way you want to. You're getting enough to make 4. And as you can see, I'm using lots of different materials, but they're all quite sparsely used. So for the pearls in this design, I'm only using 5 of them, and for the hematite squares I'm only using 12. So you can add them as you wish to your design. Oh, thank you, Kath. She's loved these necklaces. This one is the teal. This is Heather's favourite, and I think it's mine today. I think those beads look absolutely beautiful, and the hematite squares are gorgeous as well. I do apologise if you can hear some noise and drilling in the background. It's all going on. You'll hear sneezing and coughing. You won't hear anything today. He's off, would you believe? You know he's unwell when he's not bothered about coming in to say hello to you all. If he ever knows I'm doing a live, he's like, can I come and watch, Mum? Can I come and help? And I'm like, no. And he's flat out on the couch. So yeah, poorly little chops today. So these are the gorgeous hematite in this gorgeous teal colour, or blue colour. So you can see they've got a green and gold tint to them, and then a very striking blue, which I think looks beautiful with those beads. And then lastly, we've got the royal purple beads with these purple hematite. Now, if I hold these up to the camera, you can see there's little bits of gold, little bits of blue on the edges. And this gorgeous chocolate box pair. I hope my camera doesn't freeze. Little bit. Well, I've got my comments back. Thank you. So everyone's saying we've lost connection, the video's frozen and the picture's gone. I can see people watching and I can now move my screen. Should read clicks. The comments have only just come back up, but look at my screen. Ugh. So I don't really know what's happening. I would like to demonstrate for you. Hello, Serena. If you've just joined us, we're having some issues. I don't know what to do. I can't show you that, can I? I'm back and the sound's good again. I know, but can you see, does my screen look like your screen? Do I need to close it off and bring it back in? Oh, what a day it's gonna be. Right, I'm gonna leave and hopefully I'll be able to come back in on the camera and it will oh great. Right. How about now? Okay, so I think I can't see my hands. Morning, Julie. Sorry, we're having some technical issues. I'm going to do my absolute best to try and demonstrate these necklaces now. I think it all seems to be working. I don't really want to go back out and come back in, but I'm hoping it's okay now. I've got lots of you watching, so I can see that you're there. Right, let's make this necklace up. All I'm going to do is make my connecting pieces to pop them together like this. So I'm going to lay this out in front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my looper tool if I can find it. And I'm also going to demonstrate with my round nose as well today. So if you've got a looper, a one-step looper, they're nifty little tools. They're really, really handy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make 5 of my pearls and 2 of my hematite squares into connectors. Really straightforward to do. Hello, Heather. Thank you so much. Some people have gone back to Facebook. I can see people watching me on YouTube as well, so all being well. So I'm going to take my pin. Don't worry if they're a little bit bent. Probably won't be using all of them anyway. I'm blurry, but the beads mat's fine. As long as the bead mat's fine, that's fine. You don't need to see me. I'm feeling blurry anyway today. So I'm going to pop my gorgeous 8mm bead on to my pin. If I'm using my loop tool, I'm just popping the pin all the way through to where that hole is at the back of my loop tool. Now you can get loop tools that turn loops various different sizes, and they usually say the size of the loop on the handle. You can see if I do this very slowly, it's starting to bend that pin. It's going to cut and it's going to turn the loop for me with just a press of my handle. And all I tend to do is take my round nose and then just go in if needed and close it up or centre that loop. So I tend to push my loop back and then close it over. So you can see you can have your double-ended connectors having a loop on both sides. If you do it this looper tool, it's extremely quick. Sometimes I like to bend the pearl back a little bit or the bead back a little bit, and that makes sure that I'm not going to touch any of the colour or the bead with that tool. It's cutting it off, but it's doing it just because I'm not going to chip or damage. And it tends to centre it a little bit better, but it still doesn't always close it fully over. So I'm just going to go back in with the round nose and close up that loop. If I find that my loops aren't fully central aligned with each other, then I'll just take both pairs of my pliers and I'll just straighten it up. I want that to be running all the way through. Now, sometimes the reason why the little connecting ends, you might have one facing that way and then the other side facing that way. Can you see the difference? So I might have a loop facing up and the loop facing to the side. That's just because of the way I put the pin in. So if I put the pin in and the loop is facing up, it should make on the other side a loop that's running in the same direction. And all I need to do is just double check it's fully closed. Sometimes it will close them really well. I think it's more the angle that you get them at. And don't worry, we're going to be opening and closing these up anyway. So I'm just going to do 5 of them. If you are using your round nose pliers and your cutters, then what I do is I pop my bead through the drill hole, the pin through the drill hole on the bead, and I'm still going to keep in mind where this loop is facing, in which direction. Because I want to make sure that this turns really close, so there's no space between the loop and the bead, I'm just going to bend it. So I bend it horizontally. You can see I'm pretty close to that bead. I'll move this out of the way because I think we've got a little bit of lots of stuff going on the desks. The camera's picking it up. So can you see there's only a tiny space there? If I was making a wrap loop, I'd want that space between the bead and the bend. So between the bead and the loop, I could wrap that wire round, that pin round. But I want this just to be a turned loop. So I'm going to come in with my flush cutters, flush way round. I'm just going to cut, leaving about 1 centimetre from that bend. So I think I've probably got longer pins. You only need 30mm pins for this because you're only putting on 1 bead onto this design. There you go, turn that round. So if you do have extra pin left over, keep them, because you can always reuse them and recycle them by turning them in to little eye pins as well. So I'll do that again by hand. I'm going to pop my bead onto my pin. I'm going to bend my pin horizontally close to the bead, and this way, by bending it, when I roll that back into a loop, it's going to sit the same direction and it's going to sit directly on top in the center of that bead. I'm going to come in with my cutters and cut off, leaving around about a centimetre because I only want a small loop. I'm going to place my round nose pliers, making sure it is flush. If there's pins sticking out, that bit's not going to turn. So I want it nice and flush, supporting the bead, giving a little flick all the way round. And I've got my loop on both sides. So I'll have 5 of them in total, and then I'm going to do the same with my gorgeous, look at these, look at them, they're so pretty, and you get loads on your strand. You can see I've already made a full necklace, so this is why you're making 4, because with these I just want 12 of them. I'm going to use more of the squares. So I'm just taking them off my strand, and I'm going to do exactly the same with my pins. Now again, you can use your looper tool with these. We want to make sure that we're not going to knock or damage that bead. I'm going to slide it in. I want the pin to come out the other side, and then I'm going to give it a little turn. And then just close it over, and then center it by just knocking backwards. So now I've got a loop on both sides. If you're doing it by hand, it works exactly the same. You can decide which way round you want the bead. If you find it easier to hold it that way, then you can turn your loop that way instead. It doesn't really matter. If you find you want to bend it the other way, then just turn the loop. If you find it easier that way. I always find it's best to do my loop to the side, and then if I need, the bead can spin, so I could always bend it back that way, just moving that tile bead just so I can bend it horizontally. I'm still going to trim off, leaving about a centimetre, just keeping hold of that end so it doesn't fire off, and it's not going to, get you in the eye. And then I'm just turning that round, so I've got a connecting loop on both sides. So make a little pile of those. I'll just continue making some of them, and then it's just a case of piecing them together really. So I'll do a bit of a mix. I'll do some by hand, and I'll do some with the looper tool as well. I find it easier to have my loop the other way round. You can turn it if you want to that way. Just bear in mind you want to turn your pin in the same direction as where your loop is facing. Support the bead, making sure it's nice and flush. Little rotations with the wrist to get the same size loop. If you use your looper tool, obviously your looper tool's going to turn, so this one's turning 2.25 millimeters. That loop is a little bit smaller. So I tend to find if I'm using my round nose pliers, I'm going to be able to gauge the size of the loop that I'm making a little bit better, and I'm going to get the loops a little bit more uniform on either side. It really doesn't matter too much if you've got one loop slightly bigger than the other, but if you do want it, completely perfect, then I would suggest you do it by hand. and it's not going to take very long to do. So I'll tend to find I have different beads I prefer to do with different things. So maybe it's just the shape of these square tiles. I prefer to do the squares by hand, and I prefer to do the round beads, I think, with the looper, just for speed. But it's important to know that, you know, I might have a tool that you don't have, so I want to show you both ways. Well, that one looks a little bit more rounded on the corners. It's very, very cute. Yeah, I just want to show you that, you know, you can use whatever it is that you've got to hand. If you haven't got the tool, don't feel like you can't do this project. But I know a few people do have the tool or have seen them and don't quite know how to use them. So these are one-step looper tools. They're usually called that anyway. You can get them off most craft sites. I don't think we've got any left on Totally Beads. But I find if I'm making lots and lots of links and I just want to speed myself up, then using the looper tool, I'm still going to go back in with my round nose, still going to close that up and neaten it up a little bit. But I still tend to find it's quicker. It's not much quicker by the time I've gone in with my round nose and neatened it up. Hi, how are you doing? Cash Hayward, she says, sorry I was late. Is there a way to make do-wrap loops and use the one-step looper tool too? No, this is going to make a turned loop, not a wrapped loop. Because what's going to happen is as you put that pin in, you can bend these as well if you want to just give that a little bit of a bend. It's going to cut your pin off and it's not going to have that pin to wrap around the neck. So no, this is to make a loop that you can open and close. If you want to make a wrapped loop, you're going to need to use your round nose pliers or your bail step making pliers. You could use them, but you're going to need to use your fingers or another pair of pliers to wrap that loop in between. If anyone has managed to create a tool that makes perfect wrap loops, get it patented, because you are probably going to make a fortune, because I know lots of very, very skilled jewelers who do a whole range of different techniques and they don't like doing wrap loops. I quite like a wrap loop. It is definitely more time consuming, but I think it's like a fundamental technique to master, and obviously it makes your jewellery hugely secure. So certain makes lend itself to have wrap loops. Others like this, you're fine to just do your turned loops. Good morning, Anne. I think, Serena, they would be sold on that website. They're also going to be sold on the website that Heather's just commented. And they're definitely on that one near the forest somewhere. You can get them from craft sites. Obviously, we're based in the UK. I've never had the joy and privilege to go into America, but do you know one of the reasons why I really want to go? I want to go to Michael's. It's me like trying not to mention like different craft places, but anytime I watch the internet, people go to Michael's and buy crafts, and apparently they've got all sorts. I just want to go and have a nose. I assume they're kind of like our version of Hobbycraft or something. Yeah, I mean, you can give it a go. If you can do it, then let me know. But no, it cuts it off, you see, so you're not going to have that space to wrap it round. So push it in. If you want to, give it a slight tilt and then close. Just always make sure when you're using your looper, these bits aren't too close to your lovely bead, whatever you're using. You don't want it to crack. And I have had that happen with some gemstones before. Right, none I've made earlier, all I've made there and then, so you can see how they look. So I'm going to cut my chain. You can cut whatever length chain you want. I'm going to use about 30 centimeters, which is 12 inches. So 2 lengths at about 15 centimeters or 6 inches each. You can attach this on any way you want. This chain's gorgeous. It's got like long elongated oval kind of links and then 3 little ones in between. All I'm going to do is make sure that my links finish at the same point. So if I've got the elongated one, I want them to be attached to the same part of my necklace. If I've got the 3 little links, I want those to be attached to the same part of my necklace. So I'm going to attach them with a small jump ring. Fact, I'll lay them out here now. So the only time I'm using the larger jump rings, which are the outer diameter 6x1, is going to be at the back of the neckline. You can do this, as I say, any order you want to. I'm just doing it now. But you can attach all your pieces together first if you prefer. So I'm going to take my larger jump ring and I'm going to attach them to the oval link, like the long oval link, which is going to be at the back of my necklace, and that's going to be what I attach the necklace, opening and close it with the clasp. So to open my jump ring, I'm going to take 2 pairs of pliers or a jump ring opener. You just want something that's flush on the inside, it's not going to mar those jump rings, and I'm going to give it a little turn towards me. So I'm opening it just by a couple of millimeters, just enough to hook through that last link and my lobster clasp, which you're also going to get in your kit. You don't need anything else. If you get these kits from Totally Beads, it's got everything in it. You can make 4 of these necklaces. So that is essentially going to be the back of my necklace, and they will just link together like that. Now all the others I'm going to be using in terms of my jump rings are going to be these smaller ones, these 4x7. So if I can just show you the difference in size. And I'm going to use one of these to attach on to my little square hematite. Now, every time I attach a round bead and a flat square bead, I'm going to attach them on together. We've made open loops, not wrap loops, so I can just open them up and attach them together. But anytime I'm going to attach to one of my gorgeous little daisy flowers, I'm going to use a jump ring, just so it kind of blends in a little bit more. You could probably attach it through the loop directly on your connecting piece, but I want to add a little bit more movement in, so they kind of move better together by attaching with the jump ring. So first of all, I'm going to just decide and design how I would like my pieces. So I'm going to attach my little jump rings to my first kind of tile square hematite beads. I'm going to put them like that. I'm then going to add in one of my daisy flowers, and whatever I do on one side, I'm going to do on the other side. So I'm going to be attaching those with another little jump ring. I'm then going to have a round bead just connecting, but I'm going to connect it to my daisy. So I'm going to use another little jump ring. And then after I've got my round bead, I'm going to do, no, I'm not actually, I'm going to do a tile. And then I'm going to do, I call them tiles because they look like tiles. Then I'll do the round. So just have a little play around how you would like them to be connected to each other. You can do one side and then do the same pattern on the other side if you want to, and then connect them that way. You can just play about with whatever you like. So I'll just start putting these together. So I'm going to open up my jump ring just exactly the same as I would with the larger one. Only this time I'm going to connect through the smallest link on the chain, which is those 3 little links. And I'm going to put my square bead on and close it over. So this is why we want to make sure really that our loops on each of our beads, whether they're the square beads or the round beads, are fully closed, because we don't want that jump ring to fall off. So if you need to go in and just kind of tighten them up, you can kind of cheat a little bit if you want to. So you can just put a little bit of pressure with the chain nose onto them if need be, just to make sure that loop's fully closed. So I'm going to go lovely little square, and then another little jump ring. I know it's cold out. I don't know whether I'm starting to get a temperature, but I'm roasting. Oh, he's had such a high temperature. So now I'm going to just go through the loop on the flower. So you've got a 6-point flower, or a 6-petal flower rather. You can go through any of those that you want. They're the same front and back. We talk about, the joy of having a connector which is the same on both sides. Doesn't matter how I pick this up. So I'm going to connect that to one petal. All I need to bear in mind is when I'm connecting it to the next petal, I want it to be directly opposite it. So it doesn't matter which one I go through, as long as the next time I'm going to connect onto it, it's absolutely facing opposite, and that way I've got that kind of central position on my necklace. If I pop it to one of the petals to the side, it's not going to be like fully aligned, it's going to be a little skewed, if that makes sense. So now I've got 2 of my lovely beads either side of the round daisy, and I'm going to add my bead on to this one now. I don't need to connect that with a jump ring. I'm going to give it a little flip open, but just like I'm opening a jump ring, just one of them, so either the tile bead or the round bead, and then close that over, and that's connected. Then I'm going to open up the loop on the opposite side, take another one of my square beads, my hematite beads, and connect that onto that. This is the pattern I've chose. You can do whatever you want. I'm now going to take another little jump ring, because this time I'm going to connect it on to a flower. So if I'm coming to a flower, I want to add the jump ring. So picking up one of my flowers, going through any of the petals that I want to, making sure that's fully closed up. We want those points nicely and aligned. Just because they're smaller jump rings doesn't mean we have to handle them any differently. So now once I've popped that little flower on, I'm going to add another jump ring. So I want to make sure I'm going through the opposite petal. I'm going to use another square bead. And close that up. So I'm looking like this. And then I want to open up my loop. So just giving it a little flick up. I'm going to attach that onto a round bead, making sure I'm closing that loop fully back down. And then again, I can either open the opposite connecting loop or my next loop on the next bead. So this is going to be my pattern on one side, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to match it on the other side. So we do a small little jump ring. Oh, thanks, Pearl. She says it looks great. Thank you very much. It's really straightforward to do. It's a nice little project. All you need to do is just make little connecting loops, and you can arrange these in whichever manner you want to. You're going to get enough in this Melicia kit to make 4 necklaces in this design, so you've got plenty to work with. Little flick up. Now I don't need to flick this one up. I'm going to attach it with a jump ring because I'm going to add another petal. So just make sure that's nice and closed. So I'm just gripping both sides of the jump ring between my pliers, I'm giving it a little twist towards me. I'm not opening it outwards. I'm not distorting that jump ring. I'm just giving it a little turn towards me or away from me to open and close. I'm going in through one of the petals. Any petal, it doesn't matter. They're all the same until I get to this next connection, and I want to make sure I'm going through the petal that is directly opposite it. So again, another little jump ring, little turn to open, find the petal that's opposite. It's easy just to lay it flat really on the table and then just pick it up as you're working along. I want to make sure these bits are symmetrical, so it doesn't really matter too much how, well, you don't have to have them symmetrical. You can have like an A-line one if you want to, but all I'm going to do is just make sure that this side matches that side. So now I'm going to add one of my beads. I don't need to add the jump ring. I'm just going to give it a little flip up, push that bead out of the way, and then just close it over. So I'm just taking the tip of that loop and pushing it down to close. And then I'm going to get another tile bead. So open up whichever one I want. I tend to open up the loops that I've made, and then I can ensure it's fully going when I close it over. And then I want to add another little turn towards me, find the connecting loop. So just pushing that jump ring through the petal on the flower. It's got a lovely little flower in the centre of this as well. And they're all kind of like antique silver. So all of your jump rings, your pins, everything's going to finish and match that lovely chain. Making sure I've got directly opposite. And then another one of my tiles or square hematite beads. Don't have to open these jump rings too far, just a little bit, just enough to hook through. Don't open them too wide because they are a little bit more, feel a little bit more fragile. They're still really strong and will hold, but if you're opening and closing them a lot, you're going to put strain on that jump ring. And we're using 4x7s, which is the outer diameter. So this wire is a 0.7 instead of the 0.1, which is your kind of 18 gauge wire. So it's slightly kind of thinner wire, if that makes sense. All I need to do now is add on one more of my lovely squares. And then I have two parts of my necklace looking like this, and I'm going to bring them together. So I'm going to bring them together with a flower, and then I'm going to follow that pattern of square, round bead, square, and then finish with another flower. Only this time, when we've been attaching or connecting points to the flower, we've always made sure we've gone opposite ends on the flower. We're going to slightly change it up for this one so it sits in the centre. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flower and I'm going to ignore that centre top one. I'm going to attach from this one here on the right hand side and this one here on the left hand side to the left hand side of my necklace. So you can go through any one you want to begin with when you connect that on. But now instead of going directly to the opposite one on the other side, I'm just going to miss one petal next to it and add on to this one. Hopefully that makes sense. It's very straightforward make. I just really love these hematite kind of tiled square beads. I think they're really, really pretty, and they sit lovely and flat as well. So obviously you've got enough to make 4 necklaces, and I'm using 12 of the hematite squares in each one. So if you wanted to, you could, instead of making another necklace, you could make a bracelet with it and just use the tiles if you wanted. They'd fit really lovely and flat against the wrist if you wanted to do that. So I've now come out through my petals. All I'm going to do is take another jump ring, because remember, every time I'm using one of the flowers, I want to connect with a jump ring. This time, if I hold this up, I'm going through that centre one at the bottom. So missing one out on either side and going through the one centrally at the bottom. So I'm just going to attach through that petal, and I'm going to add my square. Making sure it's nicely closed over, and then going to attach on my round bead. So just flicking up the loop, that's where it's open, you can open it, and then flicking it back down. On the opposite side, I'm going to give it a little flick up and connect to my last tile. And then lastly, I'm going to dangle my little flower from the bottom like a little pendant. So flicking it up, find whichever point on the flower I want, go through the petal with the jump ring, and attach on to that last square tile. Close, and it is done. So this is my Melicia necklace in the gorgeous blue hematite. You can see by attaching those jump rings, you've got a little bit more movement and a little bit more fluidity really on those connectors, but it's not required on the pearls and the tiles. With all that noise in the back, I think I'm gonna leave it there today and apologise. It's just chaos in my house. I'm so fed up of being me. Thank you, Cash Hayward, who says, so beautiful. Your guys' designs are always so amazing and doable too. Thank you so much. That means an awful lot. Serena says she loves pretty and strut makes as well. I do. I want to make sure that whatever we make, you feel it is manageable. And I do like to give myself a little bit of a challenge as well. So if, there's any designs that you want to see, then I'm more than happy to give it a go. If there's any particular beads or products you've seen on the Totally Beads website, you think I'd love to see, a little bit of inspiration on what to make with them, then again, please let us know. I would love to do that for you. Karen says that's a lovely wire necklace, Natalie, and the colours are beautiful. I won't put it on, but I'll hold it up against myself so you can see how it will sit. It does create that lovely Y shape. Camille says, give Frank a hug from me and have a nice day. It's just going to be snuggles on the couch and Calpol. I've got lots of work to do, but needs must, isn't it? But I will do. Thank you, Camille. Serena says, thanks for a lovely tutorial. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with me today. Heather, you're always lovely and kind. So are you, Rachel. Everyone's being really kind. Thank you so much. What am I doing? What am I doing on Wednesday? I'm not sure, but I will be here. Don't you worry. So if you can, everyone's talking about that place that I mentioned. I'm going to go and have a little nosy back in the comments. I will be back with you on Wednesday. So if you can come and join me then, it'd be lovely to see you. Please stay well, keep yourself hydrated, stay in so you don't get any germs from anyone, and just make jewellery. Have a lovely, lovely week. It's a lovely start to the week, and I'll see you